Right? So the gift is actually in being awake. For something in your heart and your mind to say, wow, what am I doing with my life? Am I living it in the right way? Am I doing the right things? Am I using my gifts to the best of my capacity? That spark is a gift. Not everyone has it. Not everyone has it. Some of my closest childhood friends in Los Angeles are living very mundane lives. It's not bad. I don't feel sorry for them. But I do feel blessed that God sparked something in me to ask some questions. They are not living wrong lives. I just feel there's a gift I've received and I have to do something with it. So all of you have a gift. You wouldn't be here otherwise. You wouldn't be connected to this ashram, to Swami Vivekanandaji's message in his life, unless this gift of awakening, even if it's a small seed right now, or it might be a small sprouted leaf and plant, or it might be a big banyan tree already, who knows. But you wouldn't be given this opportunity to be here unless that gift has come inside. So please be aware, you are blessed. And the biggest sin would be not to use your blessings. Right? So just keep trying to see what that blessing is. Discovering oneself. So to awaken is an interesting concept. I like the word awaken, but sometimes with philosophical terms, I need to break it down. I want to understand practically what does all this mean. See, our heart and our mind are two very different, unique beings, souls in our body. To awaken, the two have to connect. To become Jagrut. Right? Jagrut. We'll have to do a Hindi class afterwards. To become awake. That was easier. To become awake, the two have to connect. Without that connection, it's hard to ask the questions that we need, right? But how does awakening even come about? 3 small examples. One is inspiration. You see the way Swamiji has offered his life, and you're inspired. I am. So inspiration awakens us, makes us ask the right questions. Why is this whole space, this ashram, the many ashrams across the planet of Swamiji's, why do they exist? Because there's inspiration to be taken into our lives that can carry forward. Suffering is another example. Suffering is a great tool to ask the right questions. On September 11th of 2001, I was in my apartment taking a shower 1 block away from the World Trade Center, and I just heard this big bang, and I shook a little. Then I get out. There's a lot of construction happening in downtown Manhattan. Then I get out, I started shaving. The apartment shakes again. I go in the balcony, I look up, and there's smoking flames coming out of the Trade Center. All this stuff. I turn on my TV, the TV's not working. I wake up my roommate, he was still sleeping. I said the World Trade Center has been bombed. I have no clue. We get packed up, we go downstairs, and everything's chaotic. So we step back 1 block. We were about 2 blocks away at that time, and have no clue. So many rumors going on as to what's happening right now. People are saying the terrorists attacked this and that. As we stand there, and I was on crutches, I had broken my toe a few days prior. As we stand there, people are jumping out of the building from 100 stories high. And we are getting to witness this. Few minutes later, one thing we never would have imagined. I always used to joke, oh, if the building falls, it'll fall on top of us. And I used to work there in the World Financial Center at that time. And within minutes, the building collapses. Building number 1, the South Tower. And we all start running to the end of the island. That whole episode displayed a lot of suffering for all of us on the planet. Not just for us that were there at ground zero, but for every one of us. So much suffering. This is one small element. There's so much of this happening every day, all around. But it's a gift. Suffering is a gift if you want it to be. Because it makes you ask questions. Why are we acting like this? Not to blame, oh, the terrorists are bad. No. You put yourself in their shoes and trace back their roots. We're no different. A child at 6 years old being conditioned to be a killer is not a bad child. A child is a child. Right? So we trace back. We see suffering is just constant. But we have a choice. How do we respond? Right? And insight. With so much going on, sometimes these, I think, just seeing the museum today, Swami Vivekanandaji was saying he was in a bullock cart, and as he was being taken about, there was a lot of honeybees that he saw in the middle of nature, and from that something arose, some insight came about for him. Like that insight comes, it's magical, we don't know when, we're not in control of it, but with good intention and an intention to cultivate our best inner self, insight comes at random times. And that's also a gift. So with those tools comes a desire to change ourselves, comes a desire to awaken. And it is in that blessing, through these gifts, and maybe many others, again I'm just sharing my thoughts, comes this blessing to awaken. And as Swapan Dasji was sharing today, I was nodding my head, I'm like, yes, being awake means asking questions. Being awake means not always accepting things as they are. Not to be a rebel, but because in your heart and mind there's some questioning, there's some understanding that still needs to be happening here. Not some blind faith, oh, chalo, this person said this, keep walking, do whatever he said. Again, going back to our sleeping self. So ask, what is the purpose of my existence? Why am I not happy? How do I grow? Why am I so angry towards this person all the time? Why do I feel irritated in traffic? Small things, big things, anything. How can I make others happy? What can I do differently? How can I change? Why am I suffering? I love that question. That can answer and lead you on so many beautiful journeys. Just to eradicate suffering in the journey of that itself will take you to the path of serving others. Because the journey of selflessness is the journey of joy. There's not really any other one. When we're doing stuff for ourselves, we're only cultivating ego and greed. So, this is so important to say, take all the gifts that are awakening you, inspiring people, any challenging times in your life, any wisdom, insight that you might get, and keep using that. Don't let it go. Don't take it for granted. Not everyone on this planet is getting those gifts. There are some people that watch the news and say horrible news in the world. Gee. And there are some people that watch the news and say, wow, so much suffering. I am so blessed with whatever I have. What do I want to do with my life? Right? So it's the lens that we are creating. We have to create our own lens. So here's a little model I used to do a lot. I went to Wharton Business School. And it's a very financially oriented and strategic management, all these things. So I used to use PowerPoint. So even though this is a very ugly PowerPoint presentation, I used to be a little better at this stuff. But here's a little formula that awaken, observe, ask questions. What does that lead to though? Awakening is not enough. It must lead to action. Waking up asking the questions is the beginning, is the blessing that you are doing that. But then it must lead into your personal life. You ask questions, then you actually do action. I like to call it experiments or practices, because nothing is forever. And too much pressure to say this is the only path or this is the only thing. No. When you have questions, take experiments in your life. Don't put pressure as that's the end of it. Oh, this has to be perfect. Only through failure are we going to step up again. So experiment. You have a hypothesis, you have a question, and try it out. From that will become insight. You will learn, you will make mistakes, you will grow. And from that, you will evolve. So you ask questions, you take action, you learn, you grow, your body, your mind, your heart is changing through the process. And you start again. Swamiji used to always talk about hard work. We must work hard. We can't just be complacent. This is work. Working at a 9-to-5 job is work for some person that wants to make money, and that's also a definition of work. Internal work is this. To be committed to cultivating your own virtues and values, and to be committed to growing as a human being is very difficult. But all of you are here for that reason. There are 2 rules on the spiritual path. Very simple. Start, which you are doing, and continue. Everything else is up and down. Nothing is perfect. Patience, persistence, patience, persistence, patience, persistence. But knowing that you are walking towards a direction of self-purification, of not harming others, of helping others. These, and you keep walking. You don't have to reach a destination at a certain time. So I wanted to share a little of my personal journey. Maybe that will give some perspective. And again, this is one small, tiny journey. This is not the right path. Who knows? I don't even know if I'm on the right path. But I keep following my heart. That tells me that this is beautiful. When I was in high school, there was this poster in my calculus class, Miss Nolte's class. It said, justification for a higher education, and had a poster of a mansion by the beach, on a cliff, with a 5-car garage, a Porsche, and a Ferrari, a Lamborghini. And I was drooling. And I said, thank you, Mrs. Nolte, this is what I need. Work hard, SAT scores, go to the best school in the world, and can't wait to graduate so the income is high, and I'm going to reach this point. A lot of my friends have this already. And I'm so happy for them. I keep telling them, make sure you're happy inside. Doesn't matter if you have this or not. Make sure you are feeling happy inside. Then I went to Ivy League school, University of Pennsylvania, Wharton Business School. I worked on Wall Street for a little while. I started a music group, the first South Asian hip-hop group in the world, called Karmasi. And we had a lot of blessings on MTV, Channel V, VH1, touring all around. It was awesome. It was fun. I really enjoyed we were pioneers. In America, it was a pioneer because the big immigrant journey happened in the 60s, our parents. So we were the first generation of American Indians that grew. So as we were graduating from college, we were just getting around to expressing our cultural identity, which was not American and not Indian. It was some hybrid, some between. So through hip-hop, we were expressing this. And because of that, because we were pioneers, we enjoyed a lot of fruits. But with all these type of things comes lots of ego. With ego comes lots of suffering. And we grow. And we learn. And for me, to reach material success and still be suffering, and when I say suffering, I'm not, oh, it's so bad. No. Life was good. Even when I had an animation studio here in Pune, I was living in a 5-star hotel for 2 years. 15,000 rupees a day just for my rent that my company would pay for me. And enjoying those type of things was all good. Inside my heart, I was not feeling content. Forget happy, I wasn't feeling content. Contentment is like the foundation of happiness. Happiness is a very lofty word. First feel content, feel satisfied, feel fulfilled. And I didn't have that. Again, the blessing was for me to realize that. I could easily have sugarcoated my life to say it's a beautiful life. But luckily something inside me said, something's wrong here, buddy. You have all this, but you're not feeling this day-to-day joy, this moment-to-moment joy that the human mind and heart has the capacity to feel. I didn't feel that. And so that really, really made me, it was the triggering point for me to say, you are on the wrong path. No matter what everyone else from the outside thinks that you are on the right path, that you are living a good life, you know it when you look in the mirror and look at your heart that you are on the wrong path. So I told my finance, we had $2 million in funding for our animation studio at that time. I told my financial partner, it was a venture capital company, that I don't want to do this anymore. And this is a man that owns a $3.1 billion venture capital firm. And he, his rental car in Pune was just a huge Mercedes Benz. Just $10,000 a day for his rental car, or 10,000 rupees a day. He also started transforming, and he said, I agree with you, Nimo. I said, let's shut it down. It took us a year to shut it down because we had 50 artists and employees and we didn't want to just say, no job for you guys. So we did it in a way that was allowed them to plan for their future and allowed us to enjoy the departure. We made an award-winning film that was awarded in Hollywood as our ending gift for the studio. And that process of letting go began a new journey for me. It allowed me to say, okay, now what do I do? And I remember this quote from Mahatma Gandhi. Swamiji was sharing, I've been deeply connected to Gandhiji. All these souls, Swami Vivekanandaji, Gandhiji, get their seeds they've given us beautiful seeds. Gandhiji has this one quote: the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. So it became a theme for me. I need to find myself. I'm lost. I admit it. I'm happy with it. I don't want to deny it. Time to find myself. And I like this statement. I want to use service not as a tool to serve others. I have no right to say I can serve anybody. But I want to use it as a tool to find myself. And what better way than not harming somebody, helping somebody, and finding myself. And this was the path I wanted to move from head-centric to heart-centric. And I realized we have less time, so I will move a little quicker. I'll move quickly through this so that maybe in the Q&A, if you have questions, we can talk about it. But there were 3 things when I left my studio that I decided to work on. One is simplify my life. I gave away everything I owned, except my laptop. I needed to keep that. But I wanted to see what it was to feel like not having attachment to my material resources. My favorite sunglasses, expensive, all my DVD and CD collections, thousands that I collected up to that point in my life, my watch, all these little material things, but that I had great attachment with. I gave a lot of it to my employees at my studio. But I said, let's go, let's move away from all this and see how it feels. Not that I wouldn't come back to it. I always told myself, in the idea of experimenting, you're never set in stone. And it's a good way for me as a human being to digest that this is just an experiment. Chalo, theek hai, 2 years from now I feel like making money, I'll go get a job. There's nothing wrong with that. But for this experiment, let me make it a pure experiment. And I let go. Wow, it was freeing to walk away from Pune with a backpack and a trolley was like Hari, Hari, moksha. I got moksha, I think. But it was an important step for me. It was an important step. Keywords for me, not for you. Right? Meaning, we all have to, I'm not saying something that is right or wrong. For me, at that point in my life, I needed to test out my relationship with material resources and attachments. That's why, for me, at that moment, it was beautiful. I have stuff again, but I have a new relationship with stuff, and that's what I wanted to develop. That was achieved. So simplify. For me, that was step number 1. 2, practices. I like that Gandhiji's book called The Story of My Experiments with Truth. Not the one path of truth. But everything is an experiment. We have that. Khalil Gibran has a beautiful quote. Make your daily life your temple and your religion. So in this daily life, this daily rigor that we go through, can we experiment? Can we practice these intentions that we have? Not just this project that I want to do, so I'm only doing my work. But I take it as an opportunity to practice what I want to cultivate as a human being. If I want to be less angry towards others, I'm an angry person. I want to be less angry. Then I use this daily life to actually experiment. Say, okay, morning time, I'm sitting, I might meditate for 5 minutes, I get out of the meditation and say, okay, Nimo, today, no being mad and angry at people all the time, you are angry. So then I start my day and there's an opportunity, somebody yells at me. And I'm practicing. But only with that intention that I laid in the morning time, did I start actually taking that as a seed to practice in the daytime. Otherwise, if I just say it one day, I want to stop being angry, and then I go on with my life, and 2 months later, I'm still the same angry. No. Practicing. Just like we do a daily job, we have to practice on the inner work. What's a practice? A practice is going from where you are to where you want to be. So practicing helps bridge that gap. You have an intention to change yourself. You choose what it might be. One virtue that you want to work on as a human being. I want to be non-judgmental. Human mind is so conditioned to judge every moment, every situation, every being, and we judge it from our lens, right? So everyone else we are the judge, everyone else is the defendant or the plaintiff or guilty or not guilty. So I want to work on this. Well, then I have to have that first intention in my heart that I want to change this habit. And then I have to practice. It's not going to come through prayer. In the morning I might pray to God, give me the strength to practice. But I have to do the work. And as we practice, one simple thing, they say 21 days of hard practice and reflection create a habit. Try that. Something you want to work on, take 21 days to work on it. Every day, inner work, keep reflecting, keep trying to express it in your daily life. It becomes a habit. And little by little, it melts into your being. Becomes your nature. But it's a full-time job. Not just something that, I want to change, it will happen. Practicing is a journey. Because you will fail in your practices. And you will succeed. And when you succeed, you can't have ego. Oh, I'm this good, so I'm more compassionate. What compassion is there in that? Or fail. Oh, I'm so bad. I wanted to fast for 5 days to control my palate, but I failed. I ate this kurkure or whatever it is. It's okay. Be kind to yourself. But realize that you are going upwards on this journey. You are, little by little, you are failing, you are succeeding, but the graph is going up. Non-violence, honesty, food, religion, celibacy, so many practices. I remember for my birthday one time, 2-3 years ago, Jayesh, one of my dear mentors and good friend, older brother, he said, Nimo, chalo, for your birthday, let's go clean human defecation in the slums. He knew that I would enjoy that. And I said, what a brilliant idea. Why? Not to clean the area. That's going to be dirty again tomorrow. To develop empathy. For me, that was a practice, an experiment to develop empathy for these women that have to go in these bushes, that have sharp thorns in the night and stay constipated during the day. When I was shoveling their defecation, I was able to step into their shoes, into their life. Unless I had this idea that this is a gift for me, I would never have taken Jayesh suggestion. It was a gift for me to clean their defecation. Why? Because to me it was an opportunity to grow. Do we take everything like that as an opportunity to work, to practice, to cultivate our inner being? These are some examples of practices. Gratitude. If I was to practice gratitude, I know deep in my heart I may want to be grateful. But how am I practicing? Oh, so for me then, before any meal, I will sit and make sure that I am feeling the blessing of this food, these vegetables or fruits that are coming from this planet, that have been harvested, that have been transported, that have been brought here on my table. I want to feel the blessings of that as I put that in my body and nourish my body. Oh, okay, so here's a way to practice. Oh, I'm becoming more humble by what the earth is offering me. And my gratitude is increasing. My ego is decreasing maybe. Like this, many things we can do. But to practice, we have to have an intention of something we want to cultivate. Some virtue, some weakness we want to diminish, or some virtue we want to grow in our heart or mind. And then we have to be creative. Okay, what can I do? What experiments for 5 days? I remember one time I felt ego was the biggest thing I need to work on. I stopped looking in the mirror for 1 month. And it was such a great experience. What happened is I stopped judging myself. My hair could be like that, or I could have boogers coming out of my nose, whatever it might be. But I stopped worrying about it. And in that way, I stopped judging others. And it became an opportunity. It was an experiment. Everybody's saying, hey man, what are you doing? I said, I don't know, I'm experimenting. And it's fun. And it actually inspired other people to try different experiments. Not to show off, not to prove to anybody. Actually, I was not showing, I was looking ugly even more. But for me, it was a chance to work. Meditation, to me, is one of the biggest practices. The quieter you become, the more you can hear. Our mind is so filthy dirty. It's so toxic, so polluted, like a jungli hathi. It's just causing devastation, havoc. Anything in this world that you see is horrible or dark is all the product and the fruits, the bitter fruits of the horrible mind, nothing else. Yeah. So meditation for me, and the reason why I'm focusing on that slide next, as one slide, there's many thousands of practices we can do, is the bridge. If you want to live in civilization and society, and you want to walk a path of inner self, purifying yourself, serving others, you have to have a sadhana that stills your mind, that helps reduce your ego little by little, nothing all at once. That helps you become more aware. And only when your mind is still can you be aware of your surroundings. Only when your mind is still are we more aware of our surroundings. When we are aware of our surroundings, we can see where help is needed. Silencing your mind, stilling your mind. Everyone here who washes their hands at least once a day, raise your hand. Please, everybody raise your hand. Anybody who takes a shower at least once a day or bath once a day, please raise your hand. Oh, there's a smelly section over here. Anybody who brushes their teeth at least once a day, raise your hand. Okay, everyone's hands now. Everyone who washes their mind once a day? Please raise your hand. Wow. The most important organ of the body, and only maybe 10-15% of the people raise their hand. Imagine that. 90% of us have no understanding of how to clean our mind. And it's the engine behind who we are. Unfortunately or fortunately. Stilling our mind is like shaking a clear bottle of water that has mud inside. And you shake it and when you shake it, you see the dirt of the mind. But when you put it down for 5 minutes, what happens? The silt and the dirt go to the bottom and the water is clear. But most of us live our lives with the muddy water as our mind. Why? We are so wise, we are so intelligent. Why do we not put so much energy and priority in cleansing our mind? Cleansing our mind meaning for 16, 18 hours of the day it's running. Just press pause for 10 minutes. That's a big step of cleansing the mind. Your journey as somebody that may involve meditation or stillness or whatever, it'll evolve. There's no right or wrong in that process. Thousands of types of meditation. There's nothing to say that. But to become more mindful, you have to still the mind and purify it. Right? So this is important. For these experiments and practices, my suggestion is that it has to come from the heart. You have to own and know what you want to change about yourself, and you have to work towards it. Towards a value, a virtue. Start small. Don't have big intention. I want to do this for 1 year. I'll take a cold shower for 1 year. Maybe some of us do. But start small, do little things. Patience and persistence, and watch your ego. Make sure you're not trying to fool yourself by trying to prove something to somebody. So I was telling, simplification was one thing I wanted to share. This idea of practicing to cultivate ourselves. And last journey I wanted to share was a small part of it, was the journey in service for me. The best way to find myself was to lose myself in the service of others. This journey for the past 6 years I've been at the Gandhi Ashram has been not a chance for me to change the world, to fix the world, to serve these kids and help better their lives. It's the opposite. They have been blessing me with a chance to grow. I am gifted with the opportunity to be a part of their lives. So don't fool ourselves thinking we are fixing the world. The world is perfect with you, perfect without you. There's no difference. If I die today, everyone will be as happy as they were yesterday. Maybe for a few days, mom and dad might not. So it's not a big deal. Don't put too much pressure that what you are doing is the most important or unimportant. Just realize that we can do our small part and we receive when we are serving. We are receiving. So these kids, for the first 3 years of my time at ashram, I had selected 16 kids from a few different local slum communities. We created a musical together called Ekatwa, on the message of oneness. 8 girls and 8 boys. You know, many of them very harsh conditions, extremely harsh conditions of life. So what did we do? We are creating a show on the message of oneness, but the goal was not to only create a musical to perform in front of thousands of people, but more importantly, how do we practice in our daily life these values that we are showing on stage? So after practice, we would all clean the bathroom. Why? To show gratitude. We were getting teaching by a performing arts academy. So I said, Malika Didi, we want to clean the restrooms after practice. Would you allow us? Yeah, free labor for them. So thank you. So me and the boys would clean the boys' back toilets. And not just clean, no. Gus. Gaso, Gujarati. Chalo, Hasina. Right? Not for the kids, all of us. Me too. What a humbling experience. Clean more toilets. You will always keep your ego in check, huh? I'm a big fan of cleaning toilets. This here, to me, was so important. On the left-hand side, you see these slippers in a straight line. These small details to me are the most important thing. Not about how perfect was your dance today. Yes, I get intense when it comes to creativity as well. Expressions and your intensity, passion that you're doing it in. But before all that, the foundation. All the teachers at this Performing Arts Academy would get on stage, before they get on stage, they would throw their slippers onto the side. And so you have 40 slippers and they're all like a jumble. To me, with the kids, this was more important. Take care of your environment. Your environment is not only a reflection of who you are, it's your temple. Your bathroom is your temple. We would go on street cleaning yatras. Why? Everybody would say, why? It's going to get dirty tomorrow. No, that's not why. Because we want to just be a small part of the solution. So we do it. And through that process, we find joy. That's why we're doing it. We would have slumber parties at my apartment. 16 or 18 of us. Do arts workshops. I would take them to different factories or different things because I want them to learn and be exposed to the way the planet is working. We go to a manufacturing facility so that they can see anything that they have in plastic. This is how it's created. If an animal dies, a squirrel, an ant, if we see anything like that, we would have a burial ceremony. And that instills a sensitivity in the heart that couldn't be expressed. If I was just focused on the big picture, chalo, big show, and when we do a big show, then we can come on big stage and perform and dazzle the crowd. The roots would be very impure. The journey would be very impure. But here, chalo, we have this intention, but let's make sure that the roots are pure, that the process is as important as the result. And so these small things were so, we would go on these visits, acts of kindness we would go do. Oh, why? In the beginning they were like, what do you mean? What's an act of kindness? Blah, blah. After it became natural, but the idea, we went to a hospital and started passing out flowers to the patients. We would, in the ashram itself, we would start doing things for tourists that were coming, pass them water, do anything. There's no right or wrong. Why? Because it's good to be kind to others, to help others. And we created this show, and we ended up getting the blessings of the whole world. We went on tour around the world. Passports, visas for kids who have no addresses. God sends you His blessings when we work in this way. Planting seeds. That was the biggest lesson for me. That I'm not doing anything. Through this process, through changing myself, that's the only way I can plant seeds. Not by telling this child to go do that, that's good for you. No, I'm not a teacher. But if I'm changing myself, if I want the child to be compassionate, then I need to be compassionate. What does that mean? I need to work on myself. And in this way, seeds are being planted. And they planted so many seeds in me. We did that. Small things. These are the lessons that I learned. How important the small things are. You know, in the world we are taught that big is what the world is. You need to do bigger, better. You need to sell more. You need to make more impact. But you have to make more impact. Why don't we impact ourselves first? And that in and of itself will have amazing ripples. Small things. Be kind. One rickshawala feeds the ants every morning. He gets Parle-G crackers, crumbles them, and feeds the ants. Fruitwala, Ramesh Bhai, donates. He doesn't make much money, but he offers his fruits to others that he sees needs them along the road. Just selfless beings. Priyanka, an amazing young girl, 15 years old now, 14 at the time. Her father is in jail for murder. She's from a slum community in Pune, a dear younger sister of mine. She has two prized possessions, her teddy bear and her mother. And she shared a story with me a few days after we were at a conference together about how she gave away her teddy bear to an elderly because it made her smile. And this was a teddy bear she had for 11 years. She taught me this idea that when our heart tells us to do something, act right away. Don't let the mind negotiate anything else with it. Follow your heart to the literal sense. So it's a very powerful lesson. When we went on tour around the world, nobody believed it could be possible. Even I had no dream or intention that could happen right away. But what I learned is that when we do something with a selfless spirit, and the intention is pure, the power and energy is remarkable. It always is supported by the world, by the universe. So remember this rule, law of nature. It's a law of nature. When you do something with a selfless, pure intention and spirit, the planet is bound, the universe is bound to support you. And the only times it's not supporting you is because it's testing you. How pure is your spirit? And lastly, I wanted to share this message, because this is the foundation of the rest of your life and mine. Cultivate deep gratitude for all the blessings you have. Don't let a day go by where you are not realizing the blessings you have. Don't let the day come where something is taken away from you and then you are grateful for it. And use all the signs around on the planet, the news, the darkness, all as a tool to say, I am blessed. Whatever it is I have. And try to dig into your blessings and create practices that allow you to see your blessings every day. Because without gratitude, you are not able to serve from your heart. You will serve from your mind. Without gratitude, your ego will be doing all the work. Touch as many feet as you can. Hug as many people as you can. Thank from your heart the planet and the honeybees and the animals and the trees that give you shade. Find as many opportunities in the day to express gratitude for all your blessings. This will be the foundation of the most amazing life possible.